Hey everyone, I hope that you guys are doing well. Welcome to another video. At the time of recording, this talking part is actually January 3rd. The year's 2023. The images that you're going to see in today's episode, today's content, these were actually made at the end of August 2022, so a couple of months ago. And today, rather than focusing on the content and the video from a chronological standpoint, what I want to do is I want to talk about creative burnout. First and foremost, anytime that I have creative burnout, I feel that the first thing that I need to do is abandon my expectations, because I feel that creative burnout typically happens when our expectations outpace our creativity or our capabilities or our circumstances. So for example, if I want to make an awesome image for my portfolio once a week, it's going to take a certain amount of commitment of time and dedication, and I can probably keep that up for a little bit, but I won't be able to keep up with it for very long, and creative burnout ensues. And then there's a lot of techniques that I have, but they always start with abandoning expectations. The technique that I'm going to share with you in today's video is to basically play a game. So these are the rules of this game. The rule of the game is to explore a curiosity that you've always had, but that you never explored before because it would take you out of your comfort zone. In my case, from a photography standpoint, I have always been curious about what would be more conducive to my shooting style, to shoot with the XF10, which you guys know I love shooting with that camera, or with the 18mm f2 on a body like the XE4, which has a much faster autofocus. It seems just on paper like that would be amazing. And that's something that I've always wanted to explore, but it never made sense for me to go out with two camera bodies with the same focal length. This first segment that I'm going to share with you, I'd actually go to the city of Bologna. I had never been there before. Because I was feeling burnt out, I figured I would play this game. I hopped on the train with my friend Elena. We went to Bologna, and I took two cameras with the same focal length. And I'm going to go ahead and share those images with you, and when we come back, I'm going to talk more about the images as well as this technique. Bologna was a very interesting city. I went through something, or I experienced something that I experience every single time that I use this technique. It's frustration. I figured that because the 18mm f2 was coupled or was paired with the XE4, that I would absolutely love that experience over shooting with the XF10. For pretty much all of 2022, I would say about 90% of all of the images that I made with it, I used zone focusing. I used the snap focus. And so I thought that shooting with the XE4 would be awesome because I could shoot at f2, but it ended up not being that way. It ended up being quite frustrating because it's a wider perspective. It would catch more people in the frame, and it would oftentimes focus on the wrong person and not the subject that I wanted in focus. But I know that this is just part of leaving my comfort zone. And if you are going to try this technique, know that in the beginning, you might feel a little bit of frustration. But part of playing this game, one of the rules of this game, is to adapt and to try something new. By trying something new, we basically become beginners. But the difference is, we become beginners in the sense that we are doing something new, and so there's a sense of curiosity that's being stimulated, a sense of wonder. But we also have the experience of, like in my case, even though I felt like a beginner, I still had the experience of all the years that I've been doing photography. And this is a wonderful combination. So what I did is I took the XE4 off of autofocus and I put it into manual focus. I put the 18mm f2 at f8, and I set my distance to 1.5 meters, and I began to shoot that way. And I started to have a lot of fun. And that's the whole point of playing a game, is to enjoy it. And that in itself really inspired me to shoot more and to combat this creative burnout that I was feeling. The next day, it was time to go back home. And so I hopped on the train and I was heading back to Milan. But I figured, you know what? I will stop in the city of Parma just so that I could try this experiment and play this game again. If I hadn't done this game, I probably would have gotten straight home. And had I gotten straight home, I would have missed out on two of my favorite images from this outing. So I got off in Parma and I was looking for a place to eat, and I was playing around. I saw this man who looked like he walked out of a time machine, and I had to make an image of him. I ran across the street, and as I was walking towards him, I basically, this isn't the XE4, but just to demonstrate this, it was hanging from a camera strap, and I just went like that. That's what I do with the XF10. The XE4, I typically will use the viewfinder, or I'll use the flip-up screen. But because I was playing this game, I was pretending that the XE4 was the XF10. I went like that, and I was able to get this shot, which I absolutely love. I wanted to get a little closer, and I did. I got super close to this guy, and I did the same thing. I didn't quite get it right, and I messed up. And this would have been my favorite image had I composed it correctly, but I didn't. Also, I think because it was a game, I didn't get frustrated that I messed up that shot. I focused on the fact that I got one that I really loved, and that's kind of the point of this game, is to abandon expectations while playing this game. I went and I grabbed a bite to eat, and as I was walking back to the train station, I saw this woman with this little kid. It seemed to me like it reminded me of like the grandmother and grandson type of interaction, so much so that I started getting flashbacks of when I was a kid. And I would remember my brother used to say stuff to my grandfather, and my grandpa would get so happy. He did this thing with his head where he would like lift his head up and then bring it back down and then make movements like that. He was like so proud of my brother and my little sisters. And I was thinking about that, and right as I was thinking that, this boy said something to the lady, and she burst out laughing. And then I made this image, and I made this with the XF10. And whether or not it's an image that other people can appreciate, it's an image that is very special to me. Playing this game, even though the majority of the images that I made in Parma as well as in Bologna were not images that I'm super proud of, they led to these two images, which I think was totally worth it. Not only that, but a week later, I left the northern part of Italy and went to the south. I went to Naples, and I made a lot of images there that I'm really happy with because I felt inspired again. That's the technique, guys. I'd encourage you to try it if you're going through creative burnout. I'm going to play one more segment where I share with you all of the images that I made in Parma. And yeah, I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's video. Have a wonderful afternoon or morning or evening, and here's the images that I made in Parma. Okay, take care. Bye.